Hey everybody, happy Friday and welcome back to the Fuller Homestead. My name's Brian. Today we're going to be doing a project out here at the chicken coop, but first I wanted to give you an update on the porch. If you saw our last video, you know we put in some fans and some new lights, and then we were also prepping to get ready to do some staining on an area right in front of our front door and then the steps. Well, since we last spoke, I was able to go in there and actually do the staining on the top steps and in that vacant area, and it looks pretty good. Our only problem is that it has been so humid here recently that it's taking forever for it to dry. So we're gonna give it a couple of days to dry. We actually have company coming in tomorrow to celebrate my youngest son's birthday. So I know that we're gonna wanna use the front porch. So I'm not gonna worry about a second coat. I'm not gonna worry about touch-up work right now. We'll just wait till they're gone. Oh, you may also remember that we had significant white paint overspray on our newly stained deck because someone didn't know how to use a paint sprayer. that was me. But thanks to a viewer suggestion, we might not have to take the power washer and go all the way back to bare wood again. No, we're gonna try to do some sanding. A friend of ours, Walt, via his wife, Bridget, suggested that we take a sander to it and see what that does. So we're gonna do that first, and then hopefully that's gonna take care of it. It'll be actually kind of a perfect setup to do some sanding and then get ready for our second coat. So I'm looking forward to that. But today we're out of the chicken coop and we're going to do a little bit of an upgrade when it comes to how we're gonna collect the eggs when those little chickens get ready. Let me show you what I mean. For those of you new to our channel, this chicken coop was on the property when we bought the place. Now it hadn't been used in a while. There were no roosts inside. There was no front door. This porch was braced sketchier than it is right now. So we've been working slowly but surely on it. Our chicks are so little right now. We kind of were not in a huge rush to get a lot of this done, but we built the door that we're gonna screen in. We put some rungs in there for roosting. There's the nesting boxes that were already there. In addition, we put this fencing up so that we could have a run. Now, this isn't where they're gonna necessarily live, the chickens, but they'll spend a lot of time in here because this is gonna be our composting area. We have these rabbit cages that will have rabbits in them next week, yay! Between the chickens and the rabbits, we're gonna have a nice area for them to work on our compost. So, what this run did is it isolated us just a little bit more from our nesting boxes, meaning that we were gonna have to go down there, walk the whatever feet it is up to this area, get inside the coop and check for eggs. One of our subscribers said, hey, why don't you frame up some of the wall so you can access it from the outside? So that is the project for today. I'm gonna go load up the truck with supplies and then we'll come back over here and get started. So this is the outside wall from where our nesting boxes are. The nesting boxes themselves are 5 feet by 3 feet. This unit of galvanized steel is not that heavy. In fact, it's only being held up in there by 2 bolts, I believe, one on each side into some studs. So we're gonna do some measurements and figure out where exactly we're gonna do our cutout and where we're gonna do our framing. So the door that we're gonna make is slightly smaller than the 5 foot by 3 foot. And then we're gonna have it hinging at the top where we can lift it up this way and then connect it somehow to the rafters up there, to probably this outer eaves section. So the person can go into there, collect the eggs, and then unhook it and bring it back down. So let's go do some measurements and make some drawings, and we'll get the grinder out and cut in this mug. Oh, also I wanted to point out that before I started the filming, I did go and grab some wood out of our junk pile, cut up some 2x4s that we could use for the framing. I had a couple of 2x2s left over from when we were making the roost, so we're gonna use that for the frame of the door. Found a couple of old hinges here in my hinge bucket, and so we'll use those. Of course, we got a saw, we've got a reciprocating saw, and then an angle grinder, tool bag, level. All right, that's all the supplies we need. So what we've done is we've drawn the outline of basically the footprint of the nesting boxes on the inside, 5 foot by 3 foot. We obviously don't need the door to be exactly that size. We just need enough space that when we open it, we can access all of the boxes. But that is how I'm gonna do my framing. And so I'm gonna do my cuts there and then frame at that point, and we'll do trimming on the door as we need to. Let's get the angle grinder out. So here is what we're left with after the opening. I do want to say one thing though. I probably shouldn't, but I will. So I've had a lot of Bauer tools of the 20 volt series over the years. Out of all of them that I've had, the angle grinder is the only one that I dislike. I mean, that thing eats through batteries. Now, granted, you really shouldn't have anything less than a 3 amp hour battery, but I got two 1.5s that I brought down here fully charged and ate through them in just a matter of, good grief, like minutes. This one was fully charged when I started on the 3 amp hour, and you can see about 1.5 left. I mean, that thing eats through the batteries. I very much dislike that tool, but my DeWalt one, I did not have any 5-inch cutoff blades, and so I was unable to use it, and I didn't want to run an extension cord all the way out here, so it's what I had to do. Complaint session's over, so let me get some boards out, the saw out, and then we'll start framing this up. Oh, also I need to cut through those studs. Once I got inside here, I went ahead and chose to cut the plywood back to this next available stud so that it gives us something more to bite into when I make the actual frame. I mean, I may stack some 2x4s up against it to bring it closer, but that's going to be the outside. And I'll tell you, the more I'm sitting here thinking, you know, originally I was going to do 2 smaller doors that lifted up, and then I thought, no, we'll just do 1 big door. And I still like the idea, but the more I think about, you know, my wife coming out here, or one of the kids to check the eggs, and I thought, man, that's just kind of unwieldy, and then you'd have it right above your head, and let's say that didn't work right and it fell on, that would be no bueno. So here's what I'm thinking. As I build my box here, I'm going to put a significant beam in the middle here. I was going to do one anyway just to brace that, but I think what I'll do is I'll make 2 doors. Wait a minute. Okay, all right, this just live YouTube / recorded, posted later. What we're gonna do, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do 1 smaller door. This top one's gonna lift up this way, and the bottom one is going to open this way. And here's the reason that I'm gonna do that. It's not just because it's something, you know, stupid to do. It's because I was always worried about what would happen along the bottom here, since the latch would be at the bottom, right? Like it seemed like it might be easier for a critter to get in there. But if I put the hinge this way where the opening's here, maybe it'll make it a little more complicated. Yeah, I think I'll do that. We're gonna do 1 lift that lifts up this way, 1 that lifts down this way. All right, so I'm really thinking through some things here about maybe a design change as I get to this part. The way that I've got it set up is for there to be a top door here that flips up and a bottom door there that flips down or up, either way. I had my wife over here and I was kind of showing her, and when I stood up and I looked down at these nesting boxes, while I'm not blocking like literally any of the opening on the bottom boxes, this angle, like coming in because of this 2x4 here, you really have to reach down, and if this was gone, it would be a lot easier, or if it was smaller. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna have to build 2 doors anyway, whether it's, you know, flip up this way or doing out this way, and hinges, a latch in the middle. I'd actually thought about that at one point. My wife had brought it up when she was out here, and I guess the only reason I didn't want to do that was because I thought this door, it would be awkward because it would always hit this gate here, or excuse me, this post here, but I don't know. Maybe that's not as big of a deal. But I really don't like that second 2x4 that's there, because it feels like you miss some angles. So what I can do, I can take these 2x4s out. I could take some of these homemade 2x2s that I've got right there. It's actually probably a 2x3 really. And I could put that in there instead. So I've still got something to brace the nesting boxes up against, but it gives me a little bit of an inset so that the doors will close into it. Yeah, let me take those 2x4s out, see what it looks like. All right, let me show you what a difference that made. Now, granted, I've just got one, but you can see how coming into here, cut the distance in half that you had here, and then your angle into going into the nesting boxes is just so much better. Yeah, I think I can put that one in there. Probably could put another one down here, and then I'll worry about making my doors on the inside. So let me cut another one for this part. All right, here's what we look like after taking the 2x4s out and adding, I think, I started to say this is a 2x2, but it's kind of a homemade piece of scrap wood that I'd cut down from something else. But you can see how much better the angle is to get into there. That's nice. And truthfully, the only reason this one's down here right now is because the door, if we do the doors like this, when they close, I want it to have two things to hit up against. So we'll measure the inner diameter of those things and see if we can't frame out two doors. I may not have enough, but we'll check. Let me get the tape out. Well, we're gonna pick this up tomorrow, but I did do some measuring. I did do some cutting. Here's what I ended up with. This is all I can make out of the 2x2s that I had. An upright, an upright, an upright, an upright, and a bottom. So you can kind of get the idea. Two squares, mounted up there, don't meet in the middle, beneath that old Georgia pine. Here is the center mark, right here where that arrow is. So you kind of get the idea of what they would look like. I guess I'm liking that a little more. I'll want to put some bracing on this side, cover it with tin, and then we'll just let that ride. It is nearing the end of the day and I'm hungry. So we're gonna push pause, and when this video picks back up, it'll be the next day. And just like that, it's the next day, but it's not the morning of the next day. It's actually the evening of the next day. The reason I already look like this is because the majority of the day today, I spent mowing and weed eating, putting gutters back on the house, downspouts on the house, cleaning up around the porch, trying to get rockers and things back on, all because we've got company coming over tomorrow and I wanted the place to look nice. So I had to put this on the back burner, but I did come out just before it got to be dusk and knocked out a couple of doors just so I could see what it was gonna look like. Now, it's kind of funky because the board on the top here is warped that goes around across. It's kind of got a little bit of a bow in it. So even though my doors were square, I had to do a little bit of trimming and they're still not fitting exactly perfect, but at least it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. And I'm pretty excited about the way that it's turning out. So let me show you. I'm not going to get too close because you'll see how jacked up it is, but you can see how they're going to swing out. I don't even have hinges on this door on my left. But I'm excited about the way it's going to be. I think it'll be a nice way for the family to come and me to come and get some of the eggs out of here. It should be a good deal. I'm going to take this piece of tin that came off of that side and that piece of tin, and that's what we'll use for the doors. And hopefully I'm going to do my best to line it up exactly like that. So here's what I hope to do is to take one of these pieces that came out of there, line it up with the ribs. Sorry, let me flip it over this way. Line it up with the ribs that are already there, and it should look really streamlined. Excited to put those on there in the next day or so. And so that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for hanging with me as we go around trying to do projects that we haven't yet completed yet. And yes, it does not escape me that there is huge irony in ending this video about projects that we haven't completed with a project that we haven't completed. About the stupidest way you could end one of these videos, but that's just how this day turned out. I also wanted to say thank you for putting us over 100 subscribers. If you follow us on Instagram or on our Facebook group, you would have seen a picture of a cake that my wife brought home along with steaks and potatoes to celebrate 100 subscribers on YouTube. Now, I don't know why she set the bar that high because, we're hoping that this thing grows, so I can't wait to see what the party looks like for 1,000. That'll be pretty cool. I think as of this shooting, we're at about 108, but it was just kind of a cool milestone to hit 100. So thank you for all of your comments and the subscriptions and the likes and all that kind of jazz. If this is your first video you've seen on the Fuller Homestead, please feel free to join us by subscribing to our channel, giving us a thumbs up if you think it's warranted, and then also you can hit that bell to be notified about when our next video is going to be shown. I hope to be able to post a video on Monday, but just recognize that we have a lot of family coming in to be able to celebrate our youngest son's birthday. So I don't know how much work I'll get done, but I know I'm going to have a lot of fun and eat good. That's for sure. All right, guys, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.